There's a scene that has probably happened to you. Someone said something that diminished you, or ignored you in a meeting, or crossed a line you had established, and you responded. You explained yourself. You justified your position. Maybe you even raised your voice, and in the end, even having been right, you walked away from the situation with a strange feeling, as if you had lost something, as if your response had cost you more than silence ever would. This isn't weakness, it's a pattern most people carry without realizing it, one that silently erodes the authority they work so hard to build. There is a principle that the most emotionally mature people have understood, and one that is rarely taught directly. The constant need to explain yourself is a sign of internal insecurity, not because you are weak, but because you are still seeking approval where you should be seeking alignment with yourself. Think about this for a moment. When you feel the urgency to defend yourself, to prove that you are good, competent, fair, loved, where does that urgency come from? It doesn't come from the situation. It comes from within. And what is inside you, the people around you can feel, even without fully understanding what they are perceiving. The Bible describes this with a precision that modern psychology took centuries to reach. Proverbs 17:27 says, "Whoever restrains his words has knowledge, and he who has a cool spirit is a man of understanding." Notice the text does not say that the one who stays quiet is passive. It says that the one who restrains his words has knowledge. There is a brutal difference between silence out of fear and silence out of mastery. One is escape, the other is authority. And this is where most people go wrong. They confuse mature silence with cowardly omission. They believe that talking a lot demonstrates strength, that answering everything demonstrates intelligence. But look at the people you respect most in life, those whose presence shifts something in a room when they walk in. They don't arrive explaining who they are. They arrive simply being. There is a psychological mechanism behind this. When you feel the constant need to justify yourself, you are essentially asking the other person to validate your reality. And when you ask for validation, you transfer power. That is how it works. This is not philosophy, it is basic human dynamics. Jesus, who was the greatest example of leadership that ever existed, demonstrated this with unsettling clarity. When he stood before Pilate, being interrogated, accused, pressured, the text of Matthew 27 records something that seems small but is immense. He gave him no answer, not even to a single charge, and Pilate was amazed. The most powerful governor of that region, standing before a silent man, was seized with astonishment. Christ's silence was not absence, it was absolute presence. Now think about a recent situation where you were provoked, whether at work, in a relationship, in a family dynamic. What did you do? If you responded immediately, if you felt the need to prove yourself, to correct the record, to show the other person was wrong, I need to ask you, did that resolve things, or did it just raise the temperature? Immature behavior reacts. Mature behavior evaluates. And that evaluation, that fraction of a second of pause, is where all the difference lies between a person who reacts and a person who governs themselves. Paul wrote in Galatians that the fruit of the Spirit includes self-control. It is no accident that this quality closes the list. It is the one that holds all the others together. Here is the shift that most people never reach. Genuine respect is not won through words. It is won through consistency of posture. The people around you do not respect you because you explained your position well. They respect you because they perceive over time that you do not reshape yourself to please others, that you do not explode under pressure, that you do not chase approval. And that is rare, so rare that when it exists, it is magnetic. Strategic silence is not about going mute. It is about speaking only what is necessary at the right moment, with an internal grounding that does not depend on anyone else's reaction. It is about entering a difficult conversation without needing to win, because you are already whole before it begins. Whoever understood this moved to a different level, not because they began to ignore the world, but because they stopped needing the world to validate them in order to feel solid. If this touched something in you, think of a situation in your life where silence would have been more powerful than anything you said. That thought alone is already the beginning of real transformation. Share it in the comments. Sometimes what you hold inside deserves to be said, at least once, in the right place.